You sold out? Yeah, let me just say, it's crazy that streamers provide content for free and sometimes want to get paid for it. Everything you guys pay is voluntary. Imagine doing your job and people could decide if they wanted to pay you for it or not. Sponsorships are a great thing. I'd much rather get paid by a corporation than try and get more people in my community to pay me, if I'm being honest. I say it all the time. I will always say it. I think it is a much better configuration if I'm trying to get money from a gaming company than trying to just ask you guys for more. I think that's healthier. Your delivery driver, you only get tips half the time. Yup. The thing is, the tips are like part of it and then your salary on top of it. Or I hope, or hourly. For me, there's none of that. It's 100% voluntary. You could have 10,000 viewers, and if none of them subscribe or give you anything, you are streaming for free, and then at most you could maybe get ad revenue, which helps, but it's nothing in comparison. And that fluctuates too. We used to not really get much ad revenue at all. It's only really this year that the ad revenue got better, if I'm being honest. But isn't streaming something people do for fun? You should always start streaming for fun, and if it becomes your job, you should make sure you do it in a way where it's still fun and your job, but don't knock anyone for making it their career. I think the only time it's bad is when you don't have a mix of having fun with it to the point where your community feels like it's not fun watching you because they can tell you're not having fun. Most jobs, even if you're having a terrible time, you can just do it and it doesn't affect anything. It affects your own mood, but like no one else is affected. But then this job is one of those ones where you have to at least somewhat enjoy it because people can read if you're having a horrible time all the time, and then it'll just fall apart. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's unique. It's unique in that way. Yeah, the output doesn't depend as much on how you're feeling in other work. Exactly. You could have a miserable time in another job and still perform, and it's fine. With streaming, you can still perform, but if you're having a miserable time, you have to be the greatest actor in the world, like for people to not feel it, you know? So I feel like it's one of those jobs where there aren't that many people at the top doing it who aren't at least somewhat enjoying their time. They might be overall stressed, but they're still having fun while they're streaming, or you know what I mean? They're still like doing okay. I don't know. I don't think anyone can just like, maybe that's just me because I can't picture myself doing it, but like I can't imagine that anyone could just act for that long and actually be 100% unhappy all the time, even in that moment, right? There's some that can, but I feel like that's rare. You can still enjoy what you do even if you're stressed out. Stress can be motivating. That's what I'm saying. Some people might be overall stressed because content creation's hard or whatever, you know, social pressure, blah, blah, blah. But I think even with that, in the moment when they're just sitting there playing games on stream, most of those people are still having a good time. The stream itself becomes the highlight. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just very rare that I've ever heard of, now that especially that I know personally a lot of streamers that have been at it for a long time, pretty much all of them say the same thing, that they're like, yeah, even if I'm stressed outside of stream because the job is what it is here and there, overall it's still a positive experience, and the moment when I am on stream playing games and talking to the community is like definitely the least stressful part. That's what like almost all of them say. So I'm like, okay, makes sense to me. And I get that. I feel the same way. Like if I'm stressed or anxious or something's bothering me, whatever, getting on stream and doing the streaming part is usually like keeping me away from that. So that's the better part of the day. And then after that, then it's like, okay, now I gotta deal with this annoying, stressful thing. Now I have to take care of it. And that's when you're like, ugh. But there's some people that I feel like it hinders them from being able to like really grow. But there's some people that get stressed by the streaming itself. And I'm like, that's tough. I feel like you kind of like have to get over that to be able to keep doing this. This should be the highlight. You know what I mean? Because then otherwise people are just going to like feel your nervousness and your anxiety. I don't know. I feel like everyone picks up on it, right? And it's not that you have to be 100% not anxious or anything like that. It's just you can't be like in this negative zone all the time, or people will just be like, I don't like this. Right? So there's streamers who are addicted to the stress. I wouldn't say addicted to the stress. It's more like someone said earlier that it is a motivator for them, if that makes sense, but not addicted to actual stress itself. So I don't know, I'm pretty fucking oblivious to that type of shit. Yeah, when I say people, I mean people on average, people in general. There will always be people who will just have no clue, for sure. But I just have a good time. That's why if I'm like not feeling a game, or I feel like I want to do this thing, do that thing on stream, I'll just do it. If I feel like doing something else would have me in like a not as good mood, like I wouldn't have that much of a good time, I just won't do it. Not to be parasocial, but is there any way as a chat to help a streamer de-stress or not be stressed while streaming? I don't think that's parasocial. That's literally just kind of part of the dynamic. I think that depends on the streamer. I think anything that they tell chat to stop doing, you don't do it. Just don't contribute to anything anything like that. A lot of chats have the whole, like, we make fun of the streamer thing, or the streamer's the punching bag or the butt of the joke. That's a dynamic that a good number of chats do have with their streamer. I would say lay off of that. If the streamer's like a little anxious or a little stressed that day, or they're playing game and they're just not getting it, if they're like dying a lot in the beginning and you're like laughing at them and you're haha streamer's stupid or whatever, and that's the usual dynamic, maybe that's fine if that's what they are cool with. But if it's been an hour of that, if it's even been 30 minutes of that, you know, it's time to stop. It's time to just be supportive and have a good time and vibe. Even if people love that dynamic and they think it's funny, like the streamer is usually cool with it, there's always an amount of it where it builds frustration. It's gonna legit stress them out after a while, you know? Yeah, laugh with them. Exactly. Like just posting an Omega lol when they fall and die in a game, fine. Posting Lamau missed the jump so bad. All right, now if it was the first time they did it, that's fine. But if they've done it 10 times, let's not, kind of thing. You know what I mean? If they seem stressed. Now, if they always do that and they don't seem stressed and they're laughing and they're having a good time, then like you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, that's really all you can do though, is just keep the vibes good. But also don't, this depends on the person, don't be like, you got this, hugs and kisses, oh, you're so smart and cool, when they're like dying, because it's just gonna feel like empty. You know what I mean? And then it's gonna piss them off more.